All right, we'll get started now. So,
All right.
okay. And we record. Okay. Welcome everyone to DFW BIM Infrastructure User Group. My name is Tony Carcamo, president of the user group and also president of CivilCAD Learning Solutions. Today's guest, we have John Mayo, also a member of the Autodesk Expert Elite, and welcome to another session of Expert Elite World. John, so if you'd like to introduce yourself and what you do, where you're at, where you work.
My name is John Mayo. I am a project manager working for Boswell Engineering in South Hackensack. Right now I have quite a few hats to wear.
Okay.
Over there. I do quite a bit. I do a lot of the hydraulic design. I do stormwater review for our municipal townships that we work for. I am a planning board and zoning board engineer, a city engineer, a CRS coordinator, and I'm kind of a CAD go-to guy.
Okay, cool. So it seems like you love doing hydraulics and hydrology and storm systems.
Yeah, I do quite a bit of that. Yes.
Yeah. I actually love it. I love doing hydraulics. I love doing the math and stuff. I think that's more fun than the rest of the stuff to me.
Yeah, so. Developing the hydraulic model is a lot of fun. Yep.
So tell me what year, what version did you get started on the very first Autodesk product?
College, 1993, 94,
Okay.
release 9.
Release 9?
Release 9. AutoCAD release 9.
Okay.
The old black screen or blue screen with the sidebar, no menus.
Yeah.
And then when I, probably about sophomore year, we were moving into, release 12 and got into Sofdesk.
Yeah.
Version 7 was my first with that.
Yeah.
And then just about every version of Land Desktop.
I remember Land Desktop using it. Yep.
And then Land Desktop, I saw Civil 3D with the demo. I don't know if it was 2004, 2005.
I think it was 2005, if I remember right. So
yeah, the demo came out to subscription users and it amazed me. It didn't work all that well at the time, but or parts of it, but it amazed me with the dynamic environment.
Yep.
At the time, I was doing a lot of grading with 3D polylines.
Yep.
So it was like, okay, add the 3D polyline, build the surface, generate your contours, edit the 3D polyline, build your surface, generate the contours.
Yep.
And just to see that auto rebuild was an incredible feature.
And then remember in Land Desktop, you had to recreate the profile every time you did a utility profile. So now, it updated automatically. So that was kind of nice, but I always tell people, y'all have it lucky because back then there was no YouTube channel or books to go find answers really quick. You had to call tech support all the time. I mean, y'all have it really, really lucky.
Actually, if you, back then, if you were on the Autodesk forums, which were called the news groups at the time.
Yeah.
That's where you found a lot of great help. A lot of pioneers, James Wedding.
Yep, I remember James.
Okay, well, James actually was back in that Land Desktop news group too, but to your comment prior, James, when he introduced Civil 3D to us, brought along an analogy where Land Desktop was a stone sculpture environment. And you went through a design and you sculpted it all out. As soon as the engineer came up and said, you know what, that nose has to be straightened out a little bit. You had to go get a new piece of stone and carve it out again. And with Civil 3D, you have a lump of clay. And with this lump of clay, you don't have to start from the beginning. You could just remold that section you need to edit. And that always stuck with me.
So what would you, so you started, and I guess I'm assuming you started in 2005 when you started playing around with it. Do you remember it came with an actual book? I don't know if you recall. It actually came with a book.
It came with a book. I was at Autodesk University I think in 2006 and 2007, learning it,
Yep.
and met a lot of great people down there.
Yeah. 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 So how do you, like right now, currently, or even the past when you were learning Civil 3D, what was your learning method to understanding the software? Everyone learns a little different. Some people are visual, some people are repetition, some people have to read books and manuals. Some people are more the one-on-one, you need training, reading blogs. So what was your method learning Civil 3D, or what was your best method, that fit
Yeah,
your,
I know, as there's a number of ways that we all learn
yeah,
best. I am probably best with reading and or video.
yeah,
I'm a very visual, so
yeah,
as long as the reading is there and there's diagrams that I can relate what I'm
yeah,
doing to,
yeah.
I can get through it well. And when I first started AutoCAD at
Mhm.
release 9,
Yeah.
I went out and had one of those 2.5-inch thick books that took you through AutoCAD to build that 3D chair, that office chair in 3D.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I did all that. And then when I learned Civil 3D, the social media still wasn't there yet. There was
Yeah.
no YouTube, there was no Twitter. So I was on the Autodesk news groups.
Mhm.
And that's where I found help from a lot of people who were using it at the
Yeah.
time. The Dana Proberts, the James Weddings, the R.K. McSwains of the world,
Mhm. Yeah.
Todd and Brian, all these people
Yeah.
that were out there helping us, and Jason. There were great people in the beginning,
Yeah.
and the forums were my primary source at the time.
Mhm.
I did read that book they gave you, and got through all the training sessions, and
Yeah.
I'd look for everything I could online to get
Yeah.
through it.
Yep. Yep.
But I used the Google Box.
Yeah. Yeah. I always did just, played with the software, just like kind of a self-training, sit there during lunch. Okay, what does this button do? And go to the help menu. Like, okay. And every day for the longest time, I did that for probably 10 years straight. During lunch, when I, if I wasn't having a meeting or doing something, I'd sit there at lunch and play around with the programs, just play around with features. Oh, what does this do? And I'll try to find something on the forums to see what they talked about, about it. So, I don't know. Do you remember the Auggie boot camps they had
Yes,
way back in the day?
yes,
I attended
I
one.
I
So
did, and I can go get my top dog hat too
there
and
you
wear
go.
that.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
have two top dog hats.
Yeah.
I got top dog at a CAD camp too,
Yeah. Like CAD camp. Yeah.
in Paramus in like 1990. Oh wait, maybe like 2000,
Yeah.
around there,
Yeah.
or 1999, I think. They didn't go too long. They were good little sessions, those
Yeah.
CAD camps.
Yeah. I went to one Augie CAD camp and I met James Wedding and Lynn Allen for the first time.
Yeah.
This is way back,
Yep.
so probably around I don't remember if it was 2000, somewhere between 2006 and 10. So we're in that range. So,
Yeah.
but it was great. It was like 6 classes going on, so I had a good time. We really had a good time going to those events. They don't have those no more, so, and that's why as a president of a local user group, I've been, bringing that back, with my user group and having all day training events with breakout rooms and stuff like that. So with my user group, I've done 3 of those. I actually did one that actually was a 2-day event. I think we had 12 speakers or something. And we had 36 classes that's going on.
Yeah, those I thought it was great for the company too, because they were relatively cheap training. When I was at the CAD camp, they had a few different sessions you could choose from each
Yep.
hour. And it was nice because you got to pick up tips and tricks from people who were using
Yep.
it, people who train this with the software, design the software. So I always found those sessions very useful.
Yep. So tell me a story, I guess, a funny story learning the software, something that was silly that, I shared with Zontan the other, last time, where I was talking about when I was upgrading our Windows 7 I talked about that where I didn't export the licenses, and then so I had like duplicate licenses, and then Autodesk did an audit, and like a day or two later, and called me, hey, why do you have 32 licenses? That's when I was upgrading like from Windows XP 32-bit to Windows 7 64-bit, so I did it wrong when I just upgraded the software and stuff like that. So, but yeah, and then, I told, when I spoke to Todd and Chris talking about the story, how, I never got familiar with the line types, and one day I turned it on accidentally. I was like, what's going on in my drawing? This is way back in 2000, like way back, 2006, actually, I think. And it was freaking me out because I would just redraw the drawing, but I kept pulling up a backup, and then I don't know what I was doing. And I kept hitting the line type button. So,
oh, wow.
But just silly stuff that, show people that, hey, even though we're experts, we make mistakes, and we learn, from those mistakes. And when we were learning the software for the first time, I'm sure I'm going to make mistakes, learning Revit. I'm trying to learn Revit right now. So, and a little bit of programming here and there, a little bit of Dynamo here and there, so I don't know if you have a funny story learning the software or something silly you did when you were doing the software.
Well, you call them funny stories. I call them like crash and burn heart attack moments.
Yeah.
I've had plenty of them, and
Yeah.
probably more than I like,
Yeah.
more than I prefer, but they're always going to come up. I mean,
yeah.
Nothing is perfect.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we're all trying to take this product and make it do exactly what we want. And a lot of times it wasn't necessarily designed or shipped necessarily to do it right that way out of the box. So, horror stories that you want, oh my, why don't I give you a success story?
Okay. All right. Go ahead.
Let me give you a success story. I've had too many horror stories. I've gone through all the ones you mentioned. I've gone through them.
Yeah, we've had some horror ones, especially when
one of the ways I help people understand the benefits of Civil 3D is in revision time.
Yep, exactly.
And in my land desktop world, I had a project and we're all set to deliver. It's like 20 pages, topo, site plan work. And at the last minute, the surveyor comes to us and says, you're applying for a DEP permit, aren't you? You're in the wrong coordinate system.
Oh, man.
Now, in the land desktop world, this is a nightmare.
Yeah.
Right. And I'll make the long story short. It took 2 guys 2 days to rebuild that whole thing, plan set, top to bottom.
Yeah.
Just going through and making sure every elevation was adjusted.
Wow.
We got Civil 3D.
Yeah.
Similar situation happened with similar surveyor. And I had not a big plan set as big as that one, but one really nice big plan set for massive retaining walls. Yeah. It took me 4 hours alone. Yeah. To go through the entire plan set, adjust everything. Yeah. And update every sheet for the 2 plan sets that the project has. Yeah. And that is just a huge time savings. That's really just utilizing surfaces and labels. Yeah. 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 Trying to think of another example. Let's see here. Before, I guess I can talk about survey points and trees. Before I really got a good grasp about Kogo points and stuff. The surveyor would bring me his survey, and a lot of companies will have to spend time cleaning it up to meet the company standard. You get a drawing from some survey company, and you got to put it on your layers and stuff like that. And so I'm replacing their tree mark blocks and putting the actual tree sizes and stuff in there. Yep. Besides going into, and this is when I first started, I was just manually placing tree sizes and scaling them up, visually scaling them up. Besides going into the point description key set and going there and applying the style and putting it to scale and stuff like that. And that was such a lifesaver too. And also like removing maybe
the surveyor may added all the trees to the surface when I really didn't need it. I want to remove the trees out of the surface. Going into the point group, and it's just excluding the tree shots, with descriptions or the, what do you call it, the hotkeys? Was it the
description keys?
description keys? Yeah,
the
description.
description keys.
What we called it, but I was able to go and remove it all within a couple of clicks. I actually had a training session one time when somebody actually surveyed something with pipes, and the pipes I got surveyed, and it was built into the surface. Like, hey, how do we remove these thousands of pipes that are above the ground? We went into the point group. I showed them how to do that because they were manually deleting them one by one. I'm like, oh no, don't do that. So I showed them how to do that, going into the point group and removing that description, and then next, excluded it out of the surface, stuff like that. So, but I've been there. I've been where you were just doing stuff manually. So
I'm always looking for a global way to edit and manipulate my information.
Yep.
And with the points, you're right. I have templates I've developed for companies that would go out. Some would have to shoot inventory numbers and report them. So they'd have to tag each sheet, tree, identify the number, maybe the species, the caliper, diameter, the canopy, and they'd have different formats. So we're able to bring that in, and the plan would show just the inventory number. Then you could select all those points and instantly put out your point table with the caliper, the diameter, the canopy, everything right on there.
Like a true landscape or tree mitigation chart table.
Yeah, and it is an incredible time saver.
Oh yeah. So if you had one tip, if you want to share one tip, what's one tip you want to share today? If you got a simple tip, for the watchers that are going to watch this video.
Simple tips, I would probably show people how to sum areas quickly with parcels.
Okay.
That's something that as civil engineers, you could be doing quantities, you could be doing surface cover, drainage areas, environmental constraints you could be quantifying. There's so many areas where this task comes in, and I see a lot of people still using polylines and text labels or fields, which are a little better, but still a lot of manual work. And a lot of times I just need a quick answer. So I would probably do that.
Do you have any examples or any drawings that have examples of that?
I have.
But if you have examples you want to share.
I do have a couple of drawings. And let me see.
I love using parcels too. I use parcels for drainage area maps. So it comes in handy that way. I'm not having to calculate the acreage. Way back in the day, I actually built a drainage table that tied to the parcels. That way it was automatic and at least calculated, my quantity or CFS, what it was for that drainage pattern based on whatever your coefficient was. So, and just insert your data into the parcel. But if you want to share a screen, or if you have a drawing, or even a PDF that where you used parcels,
Well, I'm gonna go where no one's gone before and try to do something quickly live.
Okay.
And where is did you let me present? Yep.
You're able to present
my screen. All right, and there we are. And let me see if I could find one more file where we actually used the, expert elite tip. You use your history for your timesheets. That might be it. Oh, that's why. All right, I'm not going to get that file, but I have this file right here. This is a template. And this template was set up it's really an extensive template that was set up to do environmental constraints. And quantify both permanent and temporary disturbance
Okay.
within, wetlands, wetland transition areas, temporary state open water disturbance in 2 different jurisdictions, riparian zone disturbance, right? We have permanent on this side, temporary on this side.
Okay.
But I use different sites.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I place each environmental constraint, and you can see them with the matching colors
Yep.
in each site.
Okay.
And the sites all have their own settings, right? We have all our,
Oh, wow.
all our different sites in our template, and we can go into them and look at our site properties. And we have naming conventions on them, numbering schemes. Let's get into the parcels. Object styles for each environmental constraint.
Wow.
And if you're doing drainage, we have them for surface cover.
Yeah.
And we have them, like you said, for drainage areas
Mm-hmm.
or environmental constraints. You choose of course, your site area. And this is a big tip if you want to sum your areas automatically.
Yeah.
Add a site area label style.
Okay.
And one without a leader.
Okay.
Because it's going to appear outside your drainage areas.
Yeah.
And you can, of course, in your style, provide your naming convention in your parcel style. And let's look at just copying some of these. These are just polylines.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And right now, let's erase. And I'm going to clear out a little marker. I'm going to clear out and erase some of these. And I'm going to see all my areas go down to 0.
Okay.
All right. So let's create some freshwater wetland temporary and some state open water temporary parcels. And of course, these could all be overlapping, and they will be with constraints. And if they're on their own sites, it doesn't matter. And that's the big thing, using your own site. Expert Elite tip number 2, your circles, even if you have like little driveways and circles, and Map Clean will instantly convert them into polylines so they can become parcels.
There we go. Yeah, that's a good one.
All right. And we're going to go home. We're going to go parcels, create from objects. And we're going to look, and we have our freshwater wetland temporary. We'll add our label style of parcel name, area, and square foot. And we can erase those entities and hit OK. And there's, look, all our drainage areas instantly met.
Okay.
And what's nice is I showed you that site area parcel label.
Yep.
That is this right here, pinned to a table location.
Yeah.
So it's summing those areas instantly. Let's go in and do some state open water. Create parcels from objects. Use your right click to get your previous commands. And this time, let's go to our site for temporary state open water. Here's my drainage area style.
Mm-hmm.
We can use it, even use a drainage area style label if we want. You could use whatever style you want. These ones will, of course, name them drainage area, number them up and label them as you need. And unfortunately, it's the same layer and style as that. But now we come over to our state open water, and there's our sum.
Yeah, that's cool.
All right, now, what if I need them in a table?
Yeah.
You can select those site parcel area labels and make a table from them, so you can provide a summary of the totals of all the constraints on lot.
Yep.
So if I go to my annotate, add tables, parcel, area tables, and I can choose my constraint summary style that we set up.
Yeah.
and I'll pick my parcels, and I'm not going to choose the parcels I created.
Mhm.
I'm in fact going to choose the parcels, the site sum area labels.
Yeah.
We have this one, and you know what? I had a couple left over on the other side. I'll put them in there too.
Okay.
We can hit OK, and we can keep it dynamic. And
Yeah,
we can go
that
to
looks good.
constraint summary.
There.
And boy, does this beat polylines and
Yeah.
text, liters,
And
even fields or
Yeah.
AutoCAD tables.
Yeah.
There are other ways.
Yep.
If you want to do data connect and all that stuff, or Dynamo, this would be a great task for Dynamo.
Yeah.
But this is one way that I've accomplished it in the past.
Yeah, that's a pretty good one. Yeah, I haven't gone that far into it like that, you know, but no, that's a pretty good one right there. So yeah.
Yeah, this takes it a little bit farther than just a couple of drainage areas. And it took some time to develop this, you know, just setting up all the parcels.
Yeah.
But once I had it set for that one site,
Yeah.
and I knew that once I could do the freshwater wetlands, well, I could do the transition areas, and I could do the riparian buffers, and I could do the you know, whatever else it was that came into play in this.
Yeah, that's a really cool tip. How much you want to bet within 1 or 2 months somebody from Dynamo is going to see this video? It's like, oh, that's a good idea, and they're going to try to make it. You know,
pass it along.
Pass it along.
Environmental engineers do these tasks often. These tasks come up, like I say, in transportation. You need quantities.
Yep.
A lot of times by sheet, and I believe our good friend Joanne has already done that, and those codes are out there. But there's this drainage areas, lots of reasons to just sum areas very quickly. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, that's a pretty good one. Yeah, thanks for sharing that tip. I think somebody's definitely gonna want to kind of recreate this or even take it to the next level. So,
well, I'll be glad to send you the file.
Yeah, definitely.
Share it. I have no problem.
Yeah, I definitely want to look at it. So, okay. So got a few more questions so we can wrap this up. Where do you see Civil 3D going in the next 10 years?
Forward,
like where do you see it? You know, what do you think it's going to look like in 10 years time?
What I hope to see.
Yeah.
What I hope to see.
You want to like stop sharing so I can see your camera?
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, I had my opinion. I shared it, but what do you think? You know, or where do you hope it could be?
I hope it can.
You know, as expert leads, we have NDAs that we hear at the side because we know we kind of have ideas for what Autodesk has told us. But where do you hope it's going to be at in 10 years?
Yeah, that's a better. Number one, I'm hoping I can either speak commands or have it read my mind, because the interaction with the interface.
Yeah.
Really, Civil 3D did a lot to move you to a more unified interface with the ribbon.
Yeah.
And the integration that way. But I do 90% of my AutoCAD on the keyboard.
Mm-hmm.
Everything from plotting to trimming, exploding, polylines, almost everything AutoCAD is command line. I don't want to look for a button.
Yeah.
I don't want to have to waste my time, you know, stretching my mouse here, there. I just want to design. I'm in a flow of design.
Yeah.
And I don't want to interact with that UI. Yeah. It's a needless thing. It's just got to read my mind.
Yeah.
So I know we're not getting there, but voice command perhaps.
Yeah.
I hope that it understands our workflows a little better.
Yeah.
And I would always love to see some of those little flaws that may prevent you from using features get fixed up.
Okay. Yeah.
That's always a big one.
You think that's when that machine learning is going to kick in? You know,
I think machine learning is going to kick in. I think point clouds are going to kick in. I know they have in many firms.
Yeah.
Point clouds are in many firms. There's still absence in a number of firms.
Mhm.
And the benefit of having the field just come to life in your office.
Yeah.
Talk about a money saver
Yeah.
when you're not driving out to the job every
Yeah.
week or two. Machine learning, we're already seeing GPS navigation.
Mhm.
I would expect that to go further.
Mhm.
Machine learning, I'd like to see more auto grading,
Yeah.
auto parking,
Yeah.
stuff like that. We still spend inordinate amounts of time laying out parking stalls when you get these
Yep.
big, massive shopping centers.
Yep.
There are solutions. Dynamo, again,
Mhm.
there are solutions out there on the net for those already.
Yeah.
That can be learned from, used. But I expect to see more of that integrated
Yep.
into the product.
Yeah. There is a, I don't know if you ever use
And not
site ups.
expected.
Bentley
Oh,
site
go
ups
ahead.
has the auto parking and sort of auto grading. Yeah, it's
I
not
was
quite there.
trying not to bring it
used
up, but yes.
But yeah. And then you have, there's another company, I'm trying to remember where they actually tied, it's kind of nice, but it's very expensive. They tied the parking to the building's square footage. Like, so when you do your parking zone, it's kind of nice. It's smart because you have to do that. You have to tie the parking to the zone. So how many units you have in your apartment, it knows how much parking you need for that type of commercial, residential, and
Yes.
the problem is that the software they have is very for cookie cutter parking lots, nice square rectangle, like a Walmart parking lot. But most parking lots are very unique, oddly shaped. It makes it a lot more difficult to create that parking aisles and stuff like that. But the software, I forgot what it was called. But it's pretty incredible because you can see it just moving around constantly, and it's trying to figure out your parking for you. And you put all these parameters in there for you, and then you type in how many units you're trying to get in, and you can break it by zone. Say, hey, this apartment has 2 bedrooms, and this zone over here has 1 bedroom, and this zone has 3. And it looks at those 3 units typed, and then it says, okay, you need this parking, or you need a parking garage. So it's pretty cool. It's expensive because it's like, man, what was it? It was like, I think it was like $1,000 a month or something. It was, something really crazy. So,
Yeah, I think
oh
I
no, I
saw
said
that
it was
demoed.
it was pretty. It wasn't 1,000, but it was like 500 a month. Sorry, I take that back. But it was pretty cool, and I've been trying to test it out. They have a new version. I'm gonna try to test it out, but it is cool if we can. Parking takes a long time. Grading it to me is like an art. It takes a while. You just got to visually see it where the water is going and think about storm, but you're also thinking about sewer coverage. Something you always have people forget about. Like, hey, the sewer can really dictate your site too, because you're connected to where that existing sewer line. So that sewer line is going to dictate where your elevation is going to be at that building too. If it's not deep.
I teach in college.
Yeah.
For the last 10 years, senior design.
Yeah.
And we do a subdivision with roads, stormwater, grading for the road and residential.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you, Civil 3D and using a 3D environment provides you a great benefit to your grading learning. Instead of trying to interpolate contours and design by that. And some of the tips I say is, some of the older methods are people still, redlining all those contours on the plans, and we're digitizing them and bringing them back. And then we're paying
tracing it over. I remember those days.
Paying 2 people to do the same job.
Yeah, I remember that days.
So the solution, of course, is have your engineers mark up key elevations, key slopes, and let your designers assign the elevations to the objects. Let the contours interpolate by themselves, and then make them pretty later on.
Exactly. I always tell people, like, look, don't make the contours look pretty until you're about to sign seal the plans. Okay. Don't spend so much time making this smooth contour where you have intersections. You need to see little jagged lines.
You're going to waste time.
Look, you're gonna waste your time. Wait till you finally sign, seal the plans, then come back, clean it up. You don't want to keep constantly having to delete that polyline, put it back in the surface, delete it, because you're constantly grading and changing things. So,
and
hey,
quite honestly, unless you're, constructing a golf tee or the bottom of a lake,
yeah,
you're not going to stake out a contour.
yeah, yeah.
No one is going out in the field and staking out a contour.
Yeah.
What they are staking out are the road curbs, center lines, sidewalks, the retaining walls, the buildings.
Yep.
Those are the things you should be designing, and assigning those critical elevations to first floors, basement floors, retaining wall elevations, instead of contours.
Yeah. If you had more free time, oops, sorry about that. If you have more free time, what software would you learn?
I'd be digging in a little bit more to both Revit and Inventor, because I really enjoy BIM modeling.
Yeah.
Trouble with this is, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just thinking that parking company is called TestFit. TestFit, yes. They deal with the building and the parking. It just popped in. I was trying to find an email and it finally popped in my head while I was looking. So TestFit is the application. Definitely check it out. Those who watch the video, check out TestFit. I know Bentley's got their own version of parking layout tools on the Site Ups, which has now been renamed to Site Planner or Designer or something like that. They rebranded it. If I had more time, I really like to keep focusing on programming, because then I can create programs and shortcuts the way I think it should be done for design, not wait there for some other third party to make it, or some Autodesk sit there for Autodesk to make it. I can go ahead and start working on it, and say, hey, since I'm still designing a lot, I said, like, oh, I wish I could, have it do this and this. And I actually now, in our company, we just released a suite of apps. And these apps I actually use in every project. all these apps. So hey, this is going to cut down in time. We have one right now that we're working on that's going to release. It's going to cut down hours, not minutes or seconds, hours.
Yes.
Right now, and it's still in the beta phase. I don't want to tell everybody what it is, but I calculated at least you're going to save about 6 hours of time, on design once it's completed, and that's a lot.
Grading is a time-consuming task. Even with civil
grading,
3D.
Hydraulics and parking, to me, is the three things that take the longest when you're doing your site design for your parking. Grading is taking a long time, and then when you're doing all your hydraulics, you're changing and doing spreadsheets. If you're doing through spreadsheets or SSA, and making sure your hydraulics and your drainage area maps are all tying together and working together, So I don't use the catch basin feature. I think it's still not quite there yet. But those three things I think are the most things that eats up a lot of time: grading, parking layout, trying to get the parking site plan, get it done correctly to meet what the client really needs to make a profit on a project. So because if we tell him, hey, you don't have enough parking, you can only have 200 units, and he says, hey, I'm not going to make any money with 200 units on a site, he'll drop the project. So you're keep configuring the site to try to get that 250 that he's looking for.
And these are questions that need to be answered before design begins. These are concept questions that need to answer, do we invest in this? Do we move this project forward?
That's where machine learning can come in and say, hey, can it work? And let the machine just run through. Can we squeeze in 250 parking spots? You just set the criteria from setbacks to buffers to your right of ways, to your parking stall widths, your sidewalks, and then just let it run. Say, hey, this is your fire lane.
Possible. It's definitely possible, and we have seen this at AU, and you've probably seen this too. But they didn't do it with site design; they did it with architectural design. Maximizing units in buildings, and you saw the AI work. And go through, like you said, millions of iterations before your eyes.
Yeah.
And it could be done easily done with site design too. It's
Yep.
already partially there, like you said, with site ops.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, one of the big problems with site ops is it's a big cost, and it's really just giving you tracing for your real design.
Yeah.
You've
it's
got to
just
bring
starting.
that work into, after you get it from done with site ops, you got to bring it into Civil 3D and really design it.
Yeah, really design it. Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Exactly.
and that is some work too. Now, if you're doing a lot of big box,
Yep.
it's probably a good investment.
Yep. Okay, well, that's all the questions I really had. You know, if you want to share one of your hobbies, what is one of your hobbies that you do on your free time? You know, what's one thing you really enjoy? And so, yep. Oh, music and guitar. Look at that. How many guitars do you have there? I see a couple in the corner cases. So is it playing guitar, making music, or just having some fun with?
It's ending my day.
Yeah.
Loudly.
Yeah.
before
Loudly.
dinner. I have probably about 20 instruments.
Oh, wow.
I started playing when I was about 16
Mm-hmm.
and played live for a number of bands till I was probably about 27 when I went to college, 28 when I went to college. Gave it up for about 20 years.
Yeah.
And dug all my stuff up about 5 years ago. And actually probably more than that. Probably about 10 years ago. Oh, wow.
Okay.
Because I started when my son was learning music in grade school.
Yeah.
And wanted to show him how to practice and how to learn and practice with him.
Yeah.
And then he gave up and I went off.
Yeah.
But I was donating time to New Jersey Special Olympics,
Yep.
Why Hunger,
Yeah. Wow.
and Green Earth,
wow.
doing benefit concerts for them
That's
with
cool.
my high school buddies.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Yeah, that's good. That's good. I think everyone should have a hobby. It's something that you're passionate about and having fun when you get out of work to relax your mind. I like playing with gadgets, from gaming mouses to just microphones, new software. I even collect comic books. Since I was a kid at 10 years old, I collect comic books. I still have them all, a whole stack in my apartment.
Big stack of money now.
Yeah, they're going up in price. So especially that Infinity War set I have that's encased from the movies.
There you go. Yeah.
So, but well, thank you. I appreciate your time. I think this has been a great video and time, getting to know you, and hopefully our viewers will get to know you, understand more about you and what you do, and hopefully they'll reach out to you also, on LinkedIn. We'll be able to post a link here on for your LinkedIn. And so definitely keep in touch.
All right, Tony.
I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a great time.
Be well.
Week. All right.
You too.
Bye.
Bye-bye.